U.S. politics. One is U.S. President Donald Trump's scathing attack on former U.S. President Barack Obama, and the other is the mystery surrounding the Jeffrey Epstein case. In its latest post, the White House releases Trump's playbook of hard-hitting responses. The post quotes Republican leaders saying, "I was the hunted, now I am the hunter." U.S. President has unleashed a plethora of statements in the last 48 hours. In one of his posts, Trump claimed there is clear proof that Obama, Hillary Clinton, Joe Biden, and others were involved in what he described as a coordinated conspiracy to undermine democracy. Trump called the crime of the century. Trump was highlighting a memo from his Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, who said Obama administration officials planned a treasonous conspiracy in 2016 aimed at Trump. She called for a trial of former President Obama administrations. Emphasizing Gabbard's point, Trump posted an AI-generated video of Barack Obama being arrested in the Oval Office. The clip ends with Obama behind bars in an orange prison jumpsuit. It has no disclaimer that the video is fictional, which critics say is part of a broader distraction campaign. However, the Office of the DNI released a 114-page document detailing evidence that before the November 2016 election, the intelligence community consistently assessed that Russia was probably not trying to influence the election by using cyber means. A draft of the president's daily brief, which dates back to the 8th of September 2016, even concludes that Russia's cyber activity did not impact recent U.S. election results. The development comes as Trump faces intensifying scrutiny over the long-classified Jeffrey Epstein files, and just 3 days after instructed his Attorney General Pam Bondi to request a court to unseal grand jury transcripts related to this case. Attorney General Pam Bondi, in her latest post, has said that the Department of Justice does not shy away from uncomfortable truths, further stating that the FBI and Justice Department will reach out to Ghislaine Maxwell if she has information on anyone who has committed crimes against victims. Ghislaine Maxwell was Epstein's key associate who was found guilty of child sex trafficking and other offenses in connection with the case back in 2021. Trump also escalated his attacks on Republican Thomas Massie, who is leading a bipartisan effort to force a vote on releasing Epstein files. Trump called Massie a loser and the worst Republican congressman. Trump said he will back anyone who can take him on. Joining us live from Washington, D.C. is Ray Locker. Ray is the Washington Enterprise editor for USA Today, where he supervises investigative reporting in the Washington Bureau, as well as the White House military and money and politics reporters. Ray, welcome back and great to talk to you. Attorney General Pam Bondi says the Department of Justice will be reaching out to Ghislaine Maxwell now. How did the DOJ come up with this decision, and what do you make of this?
Well, I don't really think much of it. I mean, she was prosecuted by the federal prosecutors before. They gave her multiple opportunities to cut a deal, and she declined. She was then convicted, and now she's in prison. So what, is she going to come up with something new? Perhaps, but I don't know really what that does to change the narrative about Trump and Epstein. Bottom line is Trump and Jeffrey Epstein were friends for a long time. That friendship seemed to have dissipated sometime around 2004, 2005. There's really no evidence that they did anything after that. And a lot of this concern about these so-called Epstein files, was ginned up by Trump and his supporters in the run-up to the last election. And now, they're saying there's nothing there, and nobody really knows what's there.
And I want to talk about the branding of Obama Democrats, generally the entire camp of committing the crime of the century. The president and his MAGA supporters have time and again called these Russia hoax propaganda in not so many words, really the work of Hillary Clinton, the Democrats, and so on. But this development just comes 3 days after President Trump ordered the grand jury to release the Epstein files. So what are your thoughts about the timing? Is this a diversionary tactic, as some say, or is there really there?
No, I don't think there's any there. I think it's a diversionary tactic. First of all, grand jury transcripts, they could be interesting, but they're not the whole story. I mean, to really get at everything the government knows about Jeffrey Epstein, you have to have the totality of the evidence beyond just the grand jury transcripts. That means the FBI 302 investigative reports, a number of things. And, we've seen over time, like the Watergate investigation from the 1970s, when those files finally came out, that you glean new things, like the JFK files that finally came out. There are new nuances to all those things that come out. But, one thing in a grand jury file isn't going to do it. And really, I think that's a smokescreen.
And it's not just the Democrats, but many Republicans are now, I mean, the MAGA base, a lot of independent journalists, but also Republicans on Capitol Hill are now calling for some sort of investigation for the releasing of these Epstein files, Thomas Massie being one of them. This division and the fact that this story isn't going away, do you think in any way it's going to cause some kind of course correction on the part of President Trump to sort of change his decision-making process regarding these Epstein files?
I mean, perhaps. I really doubt it. I don't know what's out there that could be released. I mean, that's the thing. So much of this story has been kind of manufactured by conspiracy theorists who posit that there's something out there that shows wrongdoing by Democrats or Republicans, whoever. I mean, Jeffrey Epstein had a lot of associates. I don't know why people decided to hang out with him other than his money, but he did. And so there's a lot of smoke out there. What exactly is in these files, to the extent that there are files, nobody really knows. But this is a problem of Trump's making. He kept talking about it and talking about it and talking about it, implying that there was some kind of bombshell there. His own people, Pam Bondi in particular, Kash Patel, saying, oh, these files are right there ready to be released. And then all of a sudden they say, oh, there's nothing there. Well, it looks suspicious, whether there is anything there or not. But Trump created that problem. And now he's having to live with the fallout. And there are people who bought what he was saying for years. And now they're like, wait a minute, I think you pulled a bait and switch on me. I want to know more about it. I feel betrayed.
Yeah, that's so true. Ray, thank you so much for talking to us. I look forward to speaking to you again very soon.
Thanks, Susan.